In this video we have an inequality and we're asked to graph the solution on a number line, as you always are. Here we have integers, z, it can be n natural numbers or real numbers. So 3x minus 1 less than or equal to x plus 3. So in the main we follow the rules of linear equations, but if we're multiplying by minus 1 we have to really think about the inequality's direction. So bringing the x across, 3x minus x less than or equal to, and the 1 didn't appear, 3 plus 1. So 2x is less than or equal to 4, which means that x is less than or equal to 2. So what I'm going to do is just, let's put 3 in. If x is less than 2, 3 doesn't work. So is 9 minus 1 less than or equal to 6? 8 less than or equal to 6? No. So does 2 work? 3 times 2 minus 1 less than or equal to 2 plus 3. That's replacing x with 2 here and here. 5 is less than or equal to 6, so you can see that 2 does work and 3 doesn't. So we have it correct. So I always put the one that doesn't work, 3, first, 2, 1, 0. If you want to go back to minus 1 because we're dealing with integers, you can. And then just make sure you have a different color pen and you're graphing the solution that works. 2 because it's less than or equal to 1, 0, 1, and the direction of the inequality is the arrow, the same one that goes at the end of the number line. So the answers continue in that direction. Then we have a bus and a car leave town at 10:30 and travel in opposite directions. So we have a bus, maybe let's say the bus goes this way and the car goes this way. Diagrams always help. The bus travels at an average speed of 50 kilometers an hour. So average speed is 50 kilometers an hour. The car travels at an average speed, so it's going faster over this side, 55 kilometers an hour. Average speed for him. Let t represent the time taken in hours. So time equals t. A lot of writing here. Write an expression in t for the distance traveled by the bus. Well, in 1 hour, the bus will go 50. In 2 hours, the bus will go 100. In 3 hours, the bus will go 150. So hopefully you see the pattern. So it's going to go 50 times t, where t is in hours. And the distance traveled by car over this side will be 55 times t similarly. Write an equation in t to show the time at which the bus and the car are 140 kilometers apart. So if we imagine we're looking for this whole thing here to be 140 kilometers from there to there. So the two distances added together from here to here and from here to here have to be equal to 140, and we have an expression here. We have 55t plus 50t is equal to 140. So 105 times the time taken is 140. So t is equal to 140 over 105. And that does divide evenly. 35 went to both of them. So t is equal to 4/3 of an hour. And 1/3 of an hour is 20 minutes. So this will be 1 hour and 20 minutes. And then solve this equation. That's what we've done. We solved the equation, and if the car and bus have traveled in the same direction, at what time would the car be 30 kilometers in front of the bus? Okay, this should be easy enough to look at. Every hour the car has gone, when we put 50 here, let's put the car beside it, 55, then it's going to be 110, then it's going to be another 55, 165. So every hour it's gaining 5. That's a nice way to look at this, nice and simple. So to get 30 kilometers ahead would be 6 hours. And it says what time, so just go back to the question and see, does it give us a time? They left at 10:30, we haven't needed this yet. Most students would just leave it at 6 hours if they got it right. They might not look back, so 6 hours on top of 10:30. Might add 2 hours first to get to 12:30. So 10:30, 12:30, and then we have 4 hours left, so that's going to be 16:30 or 4:30 p.m. In question 4, we have a boat. It takes 15 hours to travel a distance of 150 kilometers upstream, and the return trip takes 8 hours. So we have distance is 150. For the first one, we have time is equal to 15. I would recommend draw out your distance, speed, time triangle. Maybe write down the 3 equations as well. Distance is equal to speed times time. Speed is equal to distance over time. And time, the last one, time is equal to distance over speed. So calculate the speed is the first one. So speed is equal to S, or average speed. And then speed is equal to distance over time. For the first one is 150 over 15. So it's going at 10 kilometers every hour, which you can see does make sense. 10 15ths is 150. The speed of the boat traveling downstream, we're going to have the same distance, 150 kilometers, but we're dividing by 8 this time. So I'll go upstream and downstream, even though it probably should be technically that way and that way. 150 divided by 8 is going to be 1 7/8, 1.875. Let me just double check that. Sorry, not 1, 18.75. 18.75 kilometers an hour for downstream. Then we're asked to let X represent the speed of the boat by itself. X represent the speed of the boat by itself, and Y the speed of the boat with the current. We're asked to write an equation in X and Y that represents the speed of the boat traveling upstream. So the speed going upstream is slower, so it looks like we have X minus the current going upstream, as X is the speed of the boat. We have to take away the speed of the current, it's slowing it down. So X minus Y will be the upstream speed. And then we have the current bringing us in the other direction, so X plus Y will be my 18.75. We're asked without the current, so let's find X on its own. So we're going to get 2X is equal to 28.75. So X will be 14.375. That will be kilometers an hour. And if X minus Y is equal to 10, Y is equal to 4.375 kilometers per hour. A little bit tricky maybe this one for some students. Speed of the current, is that it for question 4? I think it is. So question 5 has these compound or two-part inequalities. 5 less than or equal to 2x plus 1. And less than or equal to 11. So we want to try and get this x on its own. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is take away 1. If you want to put minus 1 under each of them, we'll end up with 4 less than or equal to 2x less than or equal to 10. And then we divide by 2 to get x on its own. We get 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 5. And on the number line, we have 6 is not an answer. 6, 5 is, 4 is, 3 is, 2 is, and 1 isn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're dealing with natural numbers. So we're going to dot the line between 5 and 2 and the other numbers in between. And if we put 6 in for x, we'll see that we get 13 is not less than or equal to 11. And you can see that that doesn't work. The second one here, we have this inequality here. I'm going to multiply, or sorry, this algebraic fraction. I'm going to multiply by 15 to get rid of the 5 and the 3 in the bottom. This is what we're doing. We're putting a 15 in front of each bracket. I'll just put it on this side of it. And then we obviously need a 15 times x. So everything by 15. Actually, what we're doing is we're multiplying the first one by 5. 15 over 3. So the first line is 5 times x plus 1 plus this 5 and this 15 make it 3. So we have 3 times 3x plus 1. And that will be equal to 15x. A lot of students forget to multiply everything, so just be careful. So we're going to get 5x plus 5, removing brackets, plus 9x plus 3 is equal to 15x. So I'm going to bring 5x and 9x, 14x across. So I'm going to get 15x minus 14x. And on the right hand side, we're left with the 5 and the 3, 8. So I get 8 is equal to x, or x is equal to 8. Does this work? 8 plus 1 over 3, that's 9 over 3. Then we have 24, 3/8 plus 1, 25 over 5. So that's 3 plus 5. And you can see that is equal to 8, which is x on the far side. Then the last part of question 5, we have Anne is thinking of changing her natural gas supplier. And she compares the price of 2 companies. We have company A, slightly dearer than company B, but then company A has a lower charge per kilowatt than company B. So at some point they're going to cross over and become the same. So what are we asked? X represents the number of kilowatt hours. And we're asked to write an expression in X to show the total quarterly bill. So that's quarter of a year. So 3 months. That comes in, let's check. And an expression next to show the totally quarterly bill for company B. So 2 expressions in X. So A, let's go company A, the cost. If you don't use any electricity, it's 23.83 plus the amount of hours that you use times the cost, 5.187 cent. So just be careful here, we have euros and we have cents, so 5 cent will be 0.05, and then just add on the decimals, 187. Company B similarly is 20.67 plus x times 5 cent again, 0.05, and then add on your decimals, 432. So that's part 1 and part 2. If Anne calculates that she used 5,500, that's what x is. Which option is cheapest? Okay, so just write this out again. 23.83 plus 5,500. So it's just a calculator use question when you set up your equations. And the second one, B, 20.67 plus 5,500 times, and then just double check each one on the calculator. A is giving me 285.285. I'll round off at the end. And then B is giving me 298, and this is just for the electricity cost, 298.76. Adding on the standing charges, 23.83 and 20.67. We're going to get 5,119,309. We'll round this off to 309.12. And this one is 13,14,913. 319.43. So the difference between these two, there is a saving to be made. 31, 1031, just 1031, 1031 savings. So I presume that's what they asked next. So how many kilowatts would you need to be used for the quarterly bill? Cost the same. Okay, so when is x the same? So let's let them equal each other and find out when x is the same. So when is 23.83 plus 0.05187x? They're just testing your patience with all these decimals. When is that equal to 20.67 plus 0.05432x? So we're going to take 2067 away from this one, 2383 minus 20.67, And rather than writing the other two out next, I'm going to do it on a calculator first. And I'm getting 0.00245x. So I'm just going to divide this by 0.00245. Cross this one out. That will give me a value for x to be 1289.795, so 0.80. They asked to round 2 decimal places. Well, that's 2 decimal places. 1289.80 is when it will be the same. And explain how your answer from part 4 could be used to advise customers. So these ones where you actually have to be a sales rep. If you're going to use more than this, use the company that's cheaper, and so on. If you're going to use less than this, use company B that's cheaper. So that's the end of this video.